rages on. We are in the final day. Somehow we are still alive. I'm not sure how we've pulled that off, but I am joined by Cammie Dunaway, your Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Nintendo. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been a great E3.
Yeah, you might be doing a little better than I am. I'm not sure, but I think we're maintaining here. So you guys have had a lot of announcements at this show. 3DS, let's just jump right to the big one.
Absolutely.
So in a marketing role, I'm curious. You guys had this issue kind of at the press conference. It's sort of hard to sell a product where you have to really get in front of it to get the full effect. Have you guys done some brainstorming about how you're going to be kind of presenting this thing over time?
Well, you're right. It's a challenge. So at the press briefing, what we realized is that you can't describe it adequately in words, and you can't put up a video to show 3D without asking people to put on crazy glasses, and we're all about 3D experiences without glasses. So what we did there was have these 100 demonstrators go out into the audience and let people get hands-on, and once people see it, the reaction is, oh my God, this really works.
Right. So this wasn't actually the very first time we had heard about the 3DS. You guys put out kind of a terse announcement, just a real brief press release a few months ago. Are you finding it hard in this day and age to kind of keep secrets and really play these things close to the chest? Was that the reasoning behind that?
It's pretty hard because you guys are pretty good at doing what you do, which is to find stories. And in the case of the 3DS, one of the things that we really wanted to make sure is that we could launch this with a huge lineup of games. And so, we've announced it's a who's who of titles and publishers. Sure. We've got Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil, Assassin's Creed, Professor Layton, and then amazing first-party titles as well. But when we were working with the publishers, we wanted to make sure we gave them enough advance notice so that they could really take advantage of the capabilities of this new machine. Okay. And when you do that, just the chances of leaks get pretty big.
The developers love to talk, don't they?
Exactly. So that's why we went ahead a few months ago and said that it was coming to E3. But it's been so much fun this week for people to really be able to see the product firsthand and to be able to see all of the great content. It's not just about how games look on this device. It's really about the game experience and how you can now play. It makes a difference when you can better judge the distance between items. We can get a better sense of the height and depth. So developers are excited that there's a lot that they can do. I think also the way that we've designed the 3DS with the slider so that you can adjust the amount of 3D imagery that you're seeing. Also, people really like the new analog pad. It's a very smooth control mechanism. We've got the camera so that you can take your own 3D photos, and hopefully developers will be figuring out ways to utilize that in games. So there's just so much that you can do. And then we were mentioning first-party titles. It was so much fun for us to have Mr. Iwata standing on stage and be able to roll that video with Kid Icarus.
A character who is already familiar to many of you.
Because people have been clamoring for another Kid Icarus for years.
A long time coming.
So to be able to bring him out in full 3D, that's going to be a lot of fun for people to play.
Eggplant Wizard was a nice touch there.
It was pretty cute, wasn't it?
Yeah. So traditionally with DS hardware releases, you've had the Japanese release, and then the North American release has kind of trailed a few months or so after. Is that a pattern that we can expect again for this one?
All we've said so far is that we're going to roll this out in our major markets before the end of our fiscal year, which ends March 31st, 2011. So I don't know when and where, but we'll have it here.
Oh, so that's not just
the first part of 2011.
Okay, so not just Japan then for that one?
No.
Oh, okay. So for those of us who have invested sort of heavily in DSiWare, as it stands right now, those purchases are kind of tied to your physical DS. Do you guys have any kind of provisions for bringing that stuff over to the 3DS?
We don't have any announcements right now, but I can tell you this. We understand the issue, and we want to figure out ways to keep people satisfied and happy, so it's certainly something we're having conversations about.
Okay. And, backwards compatibility in general is not something that was discussed a whole lot. Is that stuff all pretty much in place?
Yeah, well, with the 3DS, you certainly will be able to play all of your DS cartridges on the 3DS.
Okay, cool. So obviously 3DS, not the only announcement that you guys had here. There's a new Zelda on the way.
There we go.
And that's big news.
That would be the biggest news if not for this other
Absolutely.
thing. Yeah.
So Zelda Skyward Sword is just amazing. This really is kind of Zelda at a whole new level because we're using Wii Motion Plus. So you've got this perfect precision in using all of Link's weapons, and you can really synchronize your movements now perfectly with Link on screen. So it's just an amazing experience, not just the sword and the shield, but also now we've got a whip, we've got the ability to throw bombs, to roll bombs, a new little kind of item called a beetle that you can send out to scout ahead. So it's just the ultimate game experience, and I think it shows that you have to have a combination of great technology, and certainly Wii Motion Plus is great technology, but you've got to have amazing game design as well. And when you bring them together, as Zelda Skyward Sword does, it just makes for a lot of fun.
Awesome. So obviously you guys have tapped a pretty wide audience with the Wii, a whole lot of people that were not into games before, but Zelda's still always been kind of considered, sort of a core gaming franchise. Was there an effort internally in designing this game to kind of orient it toward those new members of the audience, or do you feel like this is still kind of aimed at sort of your base of fans?
Well, I can tell you what people are saying as they play the game out on the show floor. This is something that the Zelda fan is absolutely going to love. Certainly part of my job as head of marketing and sales is to try and introduce new people into the Zelda franchise and help them to see there's a lot of people out there who love puzzle games, and they don't realize that Zelda is sort of an ultimate puzzle game. Sure. But in terms of the game design, this is absolutely something that the Zelda fan's gonna really have fun with.
Also, the announcements you guys made, it was just sort of boom, 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 franchise after franchise. What is the one that really sticks with you if you had to pick a favorite out of all these new games you guys have rolled out? Like, what has touched you the most deeply?
That's a hard one because there's so much. But one that I am really excited about is the new Kirby. Yeah. Because Kirby Epic Yarn, it just looks unlike anything that's ever been out there.
Right.
So I think it is the most original 2D platformer that we've ever seen. And the fact that it doesn't just look cool, but it's a really unusual play mechanic has me excited. It's going to be fun to figure out how we market that in a way that Kirby fans are going to respond to, as well as hopefully bring some new fans into the franchise.
Kirby deserved a starring vehicle. It's been a while.
Yeah, I agree.
I've got a million questions, but I'm afraid you're not going to answer any more of them. It's all the juicy stuff. It's probably going to be a couple more years.
Maybe if they turn off the camera.
Yeah, all right. Well, you shut that thing off then. Are there any closing comments about the show you'd like to make?
Just that we're really excited. It's great this year to be able to bring out such a strong lineup of product. We've talked about Wii, but even on the DS. I know everybody's excited about 3DS,
right.
But there's still a lot of great games to play through the holidays. We've got Dragon Quest coming out July 11th. Then following up on Dragon Quest, we've got Golden Sun. We've got another Professor Layton. We've got Mario vs. Donkey Kong. So I want to make sure that people know that they're not going to have to wait for 3DS in order to have some pretty great games to play on the handheld side of the business.
Awesome. Well, Cammie, really appreciate your time. Thanks for talking to us.
You're welcome. Enjoyed it.
Thanks.